How much money do you need to become a Formula 1 driver? I already made a video about the cost to become a Euro NASCAR driver, but what if I wanted to race in Formula 1 instead? Well, it's quite hard to answer the question because while in Euro NASCAR you just need to pay and then you're able to race tomorrow, even with zero experience, in Formula 1 it doesn't matter how much money you pay because there is a specific path to follow, which if you don't follow, you will never be able to race in Formula 1, not even if you pay. Well, actually, everything has a price in life, so I'm pretty sure that you can get whatever you want if you pay enough. But anyway, to race in Formula 1, it's not just about paying, because you have to prove that you're good enough by getting a specific license called Super License. Okay, and how do you get it? Well, the Super License is a specific license which is given by FIA, which certificates that that driver is ready to participate to a Formula 1 Grand Prix. And I'm not talking about driving a Formula 1. Because that, anyone can do it. You can even buy a used Formula 1 car, or you can even race in historical Formula 1 Grand Prix with the normal license. The only thing you can't do without the Super License is to participate in the official sessions of any Grand Prix in the Formula 1 World Championship. I said official session because without the Super License, you can participate to the free practices. So the Super License is the document that you need to take part to the qualifying and the races. So, how do you get the Super License? You can get it by scoring points with the results that you make in the minor championships. If we take this table from Wikipedia, you can see all the points that every championship gives you. For example, if you finish the Formula 2 World Championship in the top 3, you get 40 points. Or if you win the IndyCar Championship, you get 40 points. Or if you win the Formula 3 Championship, you get 30 points. Then you get also bonuses like 1 point every 100 kilometers of free practices in Formula 1 without penalties. So in order to get the Super License, you take all the points that you scored in the last 3 years, you sum them, and if you reach at least 40 points, you get the Super License. So this is the key point to understand how much money you need to get to Formula 1. Why? Because look at this. You can even finish for 1 year in P3 in the Formula 2 championships that you get enough points to get to Formula 1, while you can win 2 NASCAR Cup championships, which are some of the hardest championships in the world, in a row, and still don't have enough points to get to Formula 1. So this is the key point, because any driver who wants to go to Formula 1 is almost forced to follow the path karting, Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2, because this is the path that gives you most of the points to get the Super License. So that's why almost every driver is following this career, and this is the career we will take as an example. So we start from karts. Okay, karts are small, tiny, they are cheap, right? I mean, anybody can race with karts, and only the talented ones emerge. Ha! Nowadays, kart is insanely expensive. It's a pure madness. Either you're rich as hell, or you have the best sponsors in the world, or you will never do anything in karting today. I asked a friend of mine who owns a karting professional team, who have seen many future Formula 1 drivers competing, and this is what he told me. I'll translate to you. You start between 3 and 6 years old, and you just do free practices. Then you jump to the mini class from 8 to 12. At 13 you get to the junior, and then when you're 14, 15 you get to the Formula. The problem is that the level got so high that those drivers that aim to get to Formula 1, they have the coach, they drive 250 days a year, don't they go to school? So the costs become huge. This makes that a season in the mini at the highest level usually costs around €500,000. €500,000 for one season for the mini karts. Now, do you understand why Formula 1 is not for everybody? Obviously, I'm talking about drivers who want to get to Formula 1. I mean, you can race a cheap championship with karts for a few €1,000, but you will never be competitive enough to beat the rich kids who want to get to Formula 1. So after you spend a few €1,000,000, then you get to the Formula race cars. Usually you do Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2. Here things might change, because if you're talented enough, and to prove you're talented, you already had to spend a lot of money, but if you're lucky and talented enough, you might find an academy that pays you the career. Anyway, you still have to travel, you still have to skip school, I mean, it's still a big investment. So I made some calculations asking to different teams, journalists and drivers, and usually these are the costs. The Formula 1 National Championship is around €500,000. I'm always talking about the best team. Then we have the Formula Regional. We go from 500,000 to 750,000. Then we have Formula 3. You range from €800,000 per season for the worst team to €1.5 million for the top team. And then we get to Formula 2, where the top team may ask you between 2.5 to 3 million euros per season. I'm talking about the top team, but if you want to go to Formula 1, you need to race in a top team. So, what's the total budget in the end? Let's take 3 different scenarios. Imagine myself as a kid. So we have a NASCAR phenomenon, we have a good NASCAR, and we have a noob NASCAR. I don't know if you know what noob means. It comes from gaming. It means that you're not good. So, NASCAR phenomenon. I'm the best driver in the world, I win every championship in the first try. So we have 4 years in the Mini, 1 year in Junior, 1 year in Formula 4, 1 in Formula Regional, 1 in Formula 3, 1 in Formula 2. The total budget is €8 million, which maybe I pay or the sponsors pay, or if I'm lucky enough, the academy at some point starts to pay. Then we have the good NASCAR. Maybe it takes some more seasons to become competitive. So the total amount is €10,750,000. And then we have the noob NASCAR, which is not a very good driver, but it's a driver that has so much money to pay that at some point he learns how to drive. And here the budget goes above €12 million. And keep in mind one thing. If you take a baby Hamilton and put him on the kart for 10 days a year, he will never be as fast as a tiny Mazepin who maybe spent 300 days a year on the kart. You can be as talented as you want, but if you don't train, you will never be fast enough. So, this is the budget? Obviously not, because you still have to get to Formula 1. This is the budget to get the super license. These are the money to get ready to Formula 1, but then you have to enter Formula 1. So either you are one of those drivers already under contract by Red Bull, Mercedes or Ferrari, or you have to bring the budget. For example, if we talk about Latifi, reportedly he brought $40 million to get to Formula 1. Now, you understand why Ocon's parents sold the house and everything they could sell just to make Esteban racing karts. So, there's one more thing I want to tell you, which is about the prices. Have you ever heard about prices in Formula 2, Formula 3? No, right? Yeah, because there are no prizes. It's just paying. Well, this is a bit different in the USA, because in the USA you have the IndyCar, which is, we can say, not the sister of Formula 1, maybe the cousin. And you have the Road to Indy, which is the career to get to the top of the IndyCar championships. Well, in the Road to Indy, you have prizes for the winners. For example, starting from the USF 2000 until the Indy Next, if you win the championship, you get the budget to race in the higher class in the following year. And if you win the Indy Next, which is the equivalent of Formula 2, you get 3 tests in IndyCar, 1 race and the 500 miles of Indianapolis, which is the most important race in the world. So it's still not free to race in the US, but at least there is some sort of meritocracy, which nowadays in Formula 1 I struggle to see.